Welcome back, trainers. So I'm going to be going over a few Gen 4 Pokemon that have yet to be released, but they probably will be coming in fairly soon into Pokemon Go. These Pokemon are not going to have any prior evolutions so far, so you're not going to have any candies. You're going to be starting fresh with them, so you may want to save your rare candies. As far as Garchomp goes, I think, or at least I hope, we might see that in a raid, kind of like we did with Tyranitar, because it is almost on that level for their generations in popularity as well. As far as Hippopotas and its evolution, Hippowdon, as you can see here, that kind of hippo-looking Pokemon, pretty good in the main series games, not too sure for Pokemon Go, but we're going to take a look at its stats as well as Gastrodon and see if you're going to actually want to save your rare candy. So let's hop into this. Right, so we're going to start off with Hippopotas over here on the Go Hub. It will be evolving into Hippowdon, and it's going to be a pure ground type. So we can just go ahead and skip over to its evolution because that's going to be the most important part here. So if you do play PvP and enter in the Silph Road Arena tournaments, this is going to be eligible. It's going to be a pure ground type. It's going to be weak to the water and ice in that tournament, so you may want to look at as well as the grass. So you do have the Tropius and as well as the Abomasnow doing massive damage with the Razor Leaf. But with that aside, let's see what it's going to look like other than just PvP. It's going to have a max CP of 3,085, attack 201, defense 193, and stamina 239. That's fairly tanky, and its attack is above 200, so not bad, really, not bad at all. All right, so like we just went over, it's going to be weak to grass, ice, and water, resisting electric at least, so Pokemon in the Tempest Cup will be using electric types here and there, as well as poison and rock resistance. Now, if we go ahead and look at its moves, here we go. Let's go ahead and take a look. Best moveset is going to be Bite and Earthquake, Fire Fang and Earthquake, but let's go ahead and see what it has here. For the quick moves, we have Fire Fang and Bite. Bite is going to be a nice move doing a lot of damage, but very low energy gain for those charge moves. Then if we go down here, we have Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Body Slam. So you're going to get stabbed from Earthquake for sure, and then you have Body Slam. At least that is going to be a 3 charge bar move, dealing a decent amount of damage with very low energy gain. So no quick move, which is going to benefit from stab. Fire Fang will give it a bit of coverage though, which is looking fairly nice to go up against those ice as well as those grass types. So if this does drop, it just may be something we can use in the Tempest Cup, although Razor Leaf is going to be taken out extremely quick nonetheless. We know Tropius is just a monster and can take the hits. And it does have Stone Edge as well to give it a bit of coverage to go up against those ice type Pokemon. So Hippowdon looks okay. I like that Fire Fang, and I definitely like that Body Slam, so it's making it fairly useful for PvP. So it's looking pretty good. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the next Pokemon here. All right, next up we have Gible, which is probably going to be the most popular on the list amongst all of the trainers because it's quite amazing, fan favorite, and it looks amazing. Not to mention when it's fully evolved, its stats are just incredible. So it is going to be a ground and dragon type. Well, should I say dragon and ground type? Now, what I'm thinking is they're going to maybe make Garchomp possibly a tier 4 raid. Not right away, but who knows? Maybe later on down the road, because we did see that with Tyranitar, and Larvatars were extremely hard to find in the wild, and nobody really wanted to evolve too many unless you had a very good IV one. And then finally they made it a raid, and it was like, oh well, time to get those candies very easily. Hit a pineapple with it, especially if we had double candy events, and you would get massive candies. But we'll just have to wait and see what they do with that. Otherwise, putting rare candies into this is not going to be a horrible idea. I'm definitely going to be doing that, and that's what I've been saving my rare candies for, making sure I've stayed above about 320 so I can fully max one out right away, no matter what the level is that I catch it. Anyways, moving on here, it's going to be a dragon and ground type, max CP 3,962, attack 261, defense 193, and stamina 239. Now, I did a comparison with Rayquaza, Dragonite, and then Garchomp here, and Garchomp is pulling almost up ahead. Rayquaza is going to be doing more damage, but depending on what you're going up against, say if you're fighting an electric type Pokemon, Garchomp is going to be surviving longer than any of them because Dragon resists electric as well as ground too. And Dragonite does have a bit of tankiness to it, but the stamina on Garchomp is a little bit better, so I think it's going to pull up ahead when it comes down to that. Now, if we take a look at its weaknesses here, it will be eligible for the Tempest Cup, much like Altaria, but it's going to be taking massive damage from ice-type Pokemon, so you need to look out for that. As well as if you went up against an Altaria, that Dragon Breath is going to be hurting hard. But we're going to go ahead and look at its moves in a second. It's going to be weak to Dragon, Fairy, Ice, resisting Electric, Fire, Poison, and Rock. Alright, so when it comes down to its moves, let's see what we have. Mudshot and Dragon Tail, so you will probably want to run Dragon Tail. Depends on your situation. We'll wait till it comes out to test it out, but personally, it's going to be a great ground attacker for sure. Mudshot and Earthquake. So when we do look at its charge moves, Earthquake, Fire Blast, and Outrage, if you were to purchase a secondary move, I'm guessing it's going to cost 75,000 Stardust and 75 candies, like all of the other top tier Pokemon, much like Tyranitar. So Dragon Tail and Outrage looking fantastic. Fire Blast is not the best in PvP. Takes quite a bit of energy. You don't have to worry about any cooldown animation because there is none in PvP. Earthquake may be another option you may want to run with, but Garchomp is looking absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait for this one to drop. And they waited so long to bring this one out. Waited to the very end, right? So there you have Garchomp looking pretty fantastic. Best moveset is going to be Dragon Tail, Outrage, Dragon Tail, Earthquake, Mudshot, Earthquake, Dragon Tail, Fire Blast. So there you go. Pretty nice. And Fire Blast, I guess, will be giving you coverage against Ice-type Pokemon. So, little food for thought. There you have Garchomp. Right now, on to the Rotoms. Now, we've been over these several times, so I'm just going to make this brief. We're just going to take a look at their moveset so you have a good understanding. Now, all of these are going to be eligible for the Tempest Cup, being electric typing. Then you have the Flying, which is already eligible there, and then the Ice one as well. So, Heat, Flying, Ghost, Grass, Ice, and Water. Unfortunately, the Grass one is, I do believe, the only one that's not going to learn a stab move, which is pretty sad, and it is my favorite one. So, let's go ahead and start it off with the Heat here. They're all going to have the same stats, so we're just going to go over this one briefly. Max CP 2,579, Attack 204, Defense 219, and Stamina 137. Now let's go ahead and move on to the moves here. So for the quick moves, we have Thundershock and Astonish. For the charge moves, we have Thunder, Overheat, and Thunderbolt. So if you were to run this and actually purchase a secondary move, I say you want to go first with Thunderbolt, and then obviously Overheat for the secondary move. You're going to be getting stabbed, hard-hitting fire move there. As far as the quick move, Astonish gains energy fairly quick in PvP. Thundershock isn't horrible, and you will be getting stabbed out of that too, though. So it really depends. Once it comes out, just test it out to see what works best. So this one's not looking too bad. Overheat does require quite a bit of energy, although it's going to take forever to finally get off. But they do have a bit of bulkiness to them, so at least that is there. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Mo. This is going to be the Grass and Electric one. It's going to have Thundershock, Astonish for the quick moves. For the charge moves, we have Thunderbolt, Thunder, and Ominous Wind. Ominous Wind is a very low energy gain. You will have a 10% chance to increase your attack and defense, so that's looking pretty cool. At least it has that going for it. And then if you were to run two moves, I'd say Thunderbolt first again, and then Ominous Wind for your secondary move to chip off their last bit of health. If you needed to get just a charge move off as quick as possible, you're down to no more shields in them too, and whoever gets that last bit of charge move off first is going to be winning the battle. That may help you out, as well as buffing your attack and defense if you're able to get that off there. So there is the Mo. Let's go ahead and move on to the Frost here. And this one is going to have Thundershock and Astonish yet again for the quick moves. And for the charge moves, you're going to have Blizzard, Thunder, and Thunderbolt. So if you were to run this with two moves, first move is going to be Thunderbolt, and then the secondary move will be Blizzard. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the Fan. This is going to be Electric and Flying. All right, so it's going to have, finally something new, Astonish and Air Slash for the quick moves. For the charge moves, we have Thunderbolt, Thunder, and Ominous Wind. So yet again, you will want to run Thunderbolt, and then for the secondary move, you're going to want to go with Ominous Wind. All right, now let's go ahead and move on to Rotom Wash, fairly popular one in the main series games. It's going to be week 2, Grass and Ground. But in the main series games, it had something called Levitate, which made it not taking hits from ground type moves. So it was pretty darn good. For the quick moves, we have Thundershock and Astonish. For the charge moves, we have Thunder, Hydro Pump, and Thunderbolt. You're going to want to run Thunderbolt and Hydro Pump for your charge moves on Rotom Wash, Thunderbolt being the first pick. And then finally, did we go over, let's see, we went over Heat. Let's do Normal. And this is just the plain one. I mean, you probably really wouldn't want to run this one, honestly. But as it is now, you're better off using one of the other ones because the stats do drop on the normal form, I do believe. Let's go ahead and take a look really fast here. Yeah, definitely want to go with the evolutions of it. The appliances, you could say. So Thundershock, Astonish for the quick moves, Thunderbolt, Thunder, and Ominous Wind for the regular one. So there you have the Rotoms, all of which are going to be eligible for the Tempest Cup, and they actually look pretty good. So I can't wait for those ones to drop. Now for Gastrodon East and West. Personally, I like West better. I just like the color. So it is going to be a water and ground type, extremely weak to grass types if you were to use this in the Tempest Cup. Max CP 2,324, attack 169, defense 143, and stamina at a whopping 244. It's pretty nice there. And if we look at the weaknesses, weak to one type, much like Swampert, it's going to be grass, but it's going to be very weak to it. Resisting electric, fire, poison, rock, and steel. Now for the moves, let's go ahead and take a look here. You have hidden power, so quite a bit of different options if you get a good hidden power type there. And then otherwise you will have Mud Slap for the quick moves. And for the charge moves, you have Earthquake, Body Slam, and Water Pulse. So the Gastrodons are looking fantastic, honestly. Body Slam is something you definitely want to run so you can spam them and possibly bait shields. Water Pulse is going to be a 2-charge bar move, doing a good amount of damage with stab. And then you have Earthquake for a single bar move, doing obviously quite a bit of damage. So the options are yours. Personally, I will definitely be running Body Slam. As far as the second move, not too sure if I want to go with Earthquake or Water Pulse, because Body Slam will be doing neutral damage to quite a bit. So it looks good in that regard. But if you're going up against, say, a Lantern, at least you would have super effective damage. Otherwise, Body Slam should be able to chip it away. If you ever had a Celio go up against a Lantern, that's a decent matchup. But in this case, if they did have Charge Beam, you're not going to be taking very much damage. But if they did have Water Gun, it is going to hurt the Gastrodon, because it will be neutral damage and it's not resisting it. It's just going to be neutral. So here we have Gastrodon East. So let's go ahead and take a look at the moves here. It's going to have Hidden Power, again, Mud Slap, and the same move. So pretty much mirroring each other. I have a feeling these are going to be in different regions. So I really hope we get one over here in Alaska. Otherwise, that's going to be pretty sad because I really like this Pokemon. So you can look forward to that. East and West, pretty sure you can guess in which parts of the world these are going to be in. Alrighty trainers, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. And I'm going to talk very briefly about the lunch hour deal for 1 hour. It was okay. I mean, the only downfall is it's in peak hours where people are rushing around to get their lunch, so the streets are busy, for one. 2, we have Dialga, which we all have been rating those already, and I know there's people out there who need it, so this was fairly nice. And if they didn't really care about the Dialga, they just wanted to get rid of some passes and earn some extra candies or possibly get some TMs, that works as well. I just hope that they can extend it to possibly 2 hours in the future. But other than that, you know, just a nice little extra event, which I cannot complain about. And if you did hear kids screaming in the background, got them playing outside, it's springtime, nothing I can do about that background noise. So hope it wasn't too bad. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, trainers. And all we're going to be doing is waiting to see when they're going to be dropping that next bit of news. And we do have the Rayquaza coming up on the 15th, so that's going to be quite exciting. Take care, trainers, and I'll catch you all next time.